On the morning of Saturday, June 6, I inadvertently took my wife's phone instead of my own when I went to work and came across her correspondence with another man. She, still sleepy, handed me the phone without thinking. I felt an unfamiliar twinge of jealousy, a feeling I had never experienced before. I tried to start a conversation to sort out what was going on, but she assured me that everything was fine and that her love was directed exclusively at me. That day seemed like a nightmare to me. However, by the evening I managed to pull myself together a little, and I went up to her for a quiet conversation, trying to avoid any outbursts of anger. From the very beginning, she insisted that she hadn't met this man in person, that their interactions were strictly digital, with no physical encounters. I wanted to believe her, despite our relatively short time together. I thought I had a grasp on who she was, but that day shattered all my preconceived notions. We sat down to talk, and I found myself asking the same question repeatedly. Why? But her answers were limited to familiar phrases. Loneliness. I don't know. I don't understand myself. Nothing concrete. When I pressed about the possibility of someone else being involved, she remained adamant with a firm no. That's where I faltered. I chose to trust her. Despite my instincts screaming that something was off, I clung desperately to the hope that I could still salvage our family. I gave her a choice. We could end things peacefully right now, and I was even ready to take our daughter with me, or if she really saw the man she loved in me, we could try again. We settled on the latter option, but deep down I felt that this chance was more like a delayed goodbye. The following week passed, more or less without incident. We made an effort to communicate, to mend our relationship, to tackle the issues at hand. One Thursday evening, I picked her up from work, and we opted to walk home together. Toward the end of our stroll, we engaged in a conversation that even seemed to reach some sort of resolution, leading us to believe that things would be all right moving forward. The next morning, I woke up early to prepare for work and take our little one to kindergarten. Yet, despite our discussions, the nagging paranoia lingered. I decided it was time to thoroughly check her phone. I couldn't find the right moment before, and although it didn't seem unusual, looking through her photos, I came across something I would like not to see. A selection of 5 or 6 videos of her in compromising poses. The shoot was scheduled for June 25th, a day I chose to give her a break while I took our child to visit her mom. It was a turning point for me. After I took our daughter to kindergarten, I took a vacation from work and just sat there, stunned. I can't even begin to describe what happened next. I felt completely lost and depressed. The wife stated that, despite the fact that she had no right to do so, she begged for forgiveness. She was genuinely sorry and insisted that she loved me, and still loved me. When I asked her why she did this, she simply stated that she acted thoughtlessly and destroyed her happiness with her own hands. She didn't blame me for anything. Rather, she acknowledged that I was a wonderful husband and father. I'll explain later why I'm justifying her actions, so to speak. To say that I was completely devastated would be an understatement, and on a sudden impulse, I made a life-changing decision. On the same day, I packed up and went to another city to stay with friends for a couple of weeks. Of course, I wouldn't have left if we hadn't had a glimmer of hope. At the same time, we agreed that on weekends I would visit my parents, and on weekdays I would drop by her office. She works after she takes our daughter to kindergarten, and my brother will look after her. Once the initial storm calmed down a bit, I discovered that the man she had been involved with was her first love from 7 years ago, back when they were just kids. She had been in love with him, but things hadn't worked out back then. It seems she wanted to reconnect. The strangest part is that, at the time I learned about this connection, she was already corresponding with someone else. It turned out they had an affair. He had left town, and she continued to flirt until I caught on. But that's not the whole story. From her confessions and piecing everything together, I came to realize that she had been unfaithful for about a month. During this period, I began to sense that something was off, feeling her emotional distance and discontent. Our love seemed to be crumbling right before my eyes. After all I had been through, I was fully aware that this was the end. There was no point in continuing. Everything had fallen apart. However, as the weeks went by and I watched the pain unfold, I began to feel ready to give it another shot. Do not think that my decision is dictated solely by our child or the desire to save the family. Of course, my daughter is the most precious thing in my life, and I don't want her to suffer because of our divorce. But first of all, it has to do with my love for my wife and my belief that she can change. I understand the risk I'm taking. There is a significant possibility that things could get even worse. Harper can repeat his mistakes. I can lose control of myself and be trapped in this storm of pain and fear. This will not only tear our family apart, but it will leave indelible scars on all of us. Yet, I believe we can turn this around, that there's a chance for healing and rebirth. But it's going to take effort from both of us. We have to be willing to work on ourselves and our relationship. It's going to be a tough road, and I don't expect a quick fix. That's why I want to give her this opportunity. I spent weeks reading about relationships, family dynamics, and infidelity, and I've come to a realization. I don't want to walk away from what we had because we were genuinely good together. In our own way, we had a healthy relationship, filled with moments of joy and comfort. Yes, we had our share of domestic disagreements, but we were quick to find compromises and solutions. I'm pretty sure she loved me and truly invested in what we had. On my end, I've been doing my part, constantly reminding her how beautiful she is and how lucky I am to have her. I made it a point to tell her every day that I loved her. Yes, we had our challenges, but we also had moments of forgiveness and growth. Our daughter is a testament to the love we shared, a true angel. At just 2 years old, she has impressive motor skills and speech development. Her caregivers adore her, and everyone who spends time with her often remarks that they wish their own children would be like her. While I'm in Florida, Harper and I are in touch so that I can stay in touch with our baby. All this time, she has sincerely tried to support me emotionally, and I feel that she is really aware of the severity of her actions and deeply regrets them. It's hard for me to imagine how I would react in a similar situation if our roles were reversed. The thought of cheating has never crossed my mind. In fact, the very thought of infidelity disgusts me. If I had made a mistake and genuinely repented, I imagine I might speak in the same earnest tone she does now. It would be much easier for me to consider divorce if she had behaved coldly or harshly in our relationship, or if I had been oblivious to our issues. But the truth is, we were doing quite well together. I think she just lost control, merely succumbing to temptation. I struggle to understand her reasoning, though she is the one suffering the most right now, followed by me, and of course, our daughter. She was the architect of her own misfortune. It's not merely the betrayal that pains me. It's the fact that our entire family is affected by one impulsive choice. Yes, perhaps a certain place or person influenced her decision, but ultimately, the responsibility lies with her. This raises a couple of important questions. What does the love I feel for her mean? Is it possible that what I perceive as love is simply affection? Have I constructed an idealized version of the woman she used to be? Am I truly ready to navigate this complicated situation? Above all, my focus must be on our child, and if Yana makes any missteps, I will not hesitate to intervene. I've developed a plan to manage this situation. For now, everything feels somewhat under control. However, I remain aware that I could be deceived, which might lead to even greater pain. For the time being, we won't have any face-to-face meetings. I sincerely hope we can resolve everything in time. I long for us to return to a state of normal communication, and I hope she will eventually feel comfortable enough to express her feelings and intentions honestly. My hope is that she truly wants to be a better wife and mother, not just for my sake, but for her own as well.